welcome back to the podcast. We got a guest on here. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah, my name is Elijah Rich. Live here in Salem, Utah, right across the street from Kyle, and so he's a good neighbor here. And
Yeah, we wanted to get your opinion on some things. Let me see. You got such an interesting life story, which I know we have. That would take way longer than 20 minutes here. But what do you think? Because you're originally from California.
I was born in California on the
Okay.
Marine base. By the time I was 18, I had moved 27 times.
Okay.
This house that I live in now, this is actually my 52nd house I've lived in my life.
So before you moved here, where did you guys live?
So right before Salem, we lived in Lehigh, and we lived in that area since 2020. For a short while, we were in Draper, but found about moved. I've always wanted to move down here to southern Utah County because people down here totally chill. During the pandemic, everybody up north, Salt Lake City, those guys are paranoid, crazy. You come down here, everyone's level-headed, laid back. And it made sense to me. And I'm like, so I kept telling my wife, I want to build out. I want to build down here. So when an opportunity came to build, I'm like, let's take it. Let's move.
You took it.
And we're so glad. Extremely grateful for it. Every day, we're in our house, and I'm just so thankful that we're here.
Well, I'm glad you're here too.
Thanks, man.
You're awesome. So I just had to ask, like, your biggest difference here, because you said you moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Like we had just talked to Dallin, and Dallin lives in Florida. About all this, I guess I want to ask is, like, what do you think about, how do I word this right? The craziness going on in this world. How do you deal with that? I mean, like, what do you think? Like, personal, like, just like, get into it. We got 17 minutes to talk. Like, what do you think of it all?
There are so many crazy things that we can talk about. I mean, you can watch. You get on social media, you get on any platform these days, and it's like the world is going nuts. And you see the effects it's having on your kids and your family. Man, life can be chaotic. It can be nerve-wracking. But the one thing that I've learned in my life, which was one of my biggest lessons I've learned, is that events in my life don't dictate my emotions, but they try to. And sometimes we let them get away with it. We give our control over to events and say those events created the emotions that I have, right? So we'll watch something on social media and we'll see something that gets us outraged because it's designed to do that. Yeah. The algorithm is designed for engagement, so it learns that if I can tick this person off, he's going to be more engaged. He's going to stay on my platform longer because now they're controlling my emotions. So
how do you deal with that? I know I won't go into how big your family is, but I know you have a decently sized family.
Yeah, I'll tell.
The obvious age difference here. I mean, I have a very young family. I got 3 little kids compared to.
I've got 7 daughters.
7 daughters. Okay, of varying ages, and I don't know. Maybe just seeking advice because we have a lot of listeners. I mean, depending on what the video is how do you manage that? Like, I mean, you grew up in a time when, you grew up in a better time than I did. I mean,
people like to say that. They're like, I can't see myself having a kid. But you know what? When I started off, I felt the same way. I remember when I had to start getting my own apartment, and I'm used to living, with my family. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I have to pay how much for what? It seemed impossible. Having kids seemed impossible. But I was encouraged from church, whatnot, to just have kids. And you know what? We've made it work. And while it's difficult, it's challenging. There's been things that I've been concerned about, and one of those was so what do I do as a father? I want to be. I didn't grow up with a dad around me much. I mean, I have an amazing father, but my parents were divorced when I was a kid, and mostly grew up with my mom and my 2 sisters. I was never around a father figure, right? But I saw a lot of father figures that I'm like, that's the kind of man that I want to become like. But for me, I don't know where I'm going with that. It's how do I manage this? I will say one of the biggest thing is, again, life is going to try to create your emotions and control those emotions because they can control you. But the thing that you've got to realize is that you have the ability to create whatever emotions you want anytime you want. If you want to be happy, you can just remember a time when you were happy. And you can just bring that picture up and practice being happy. I've learned that if you practice being happy enough times, it becomes unconscious. Your life will become much more happy, but you have to practice it. If you practice being sad, if you practice being angry, if you practice being whatever, or if you're not really practicing, you're just doing it because this is what you're told you're supposed to feel like. Yeah, man, there's a lot of craziness going on in this world.
No, I like that. I actually like that. I mean, as a young, I'm sure Kyle, who's over there on the computer, can agree too. Like, the practice of being happy.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 kids. I personally don't know if I could do that. Like, I want a big family, but I don't. 7's and all girls too. I got 2 boys and a little lady.
Lucky. I kept trying for a boy. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me.
And I gave
it a good shot though. I'm gonna say.
But
when you mentioned though that you had made it work, there's actually remind me of us the gender wage gap issue that they keep talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had taken it and broken it down by different statistics, and the statistics they broke it down by was single women and single men and married women and married men.
Okay.
And when they tracked the data, single women, single men, and married women almost identical wage, but then all of a sudden married men shot way up. And so being married, having kids is a huge motivator for a lot of people to become successful.
I have to say personally in my life, like to get a little personal here, because we're being pretty personal, having a family has motivated me to be a better man. Like, I mean, I look at, especially when I had my daughter, she turns 2 next year. It was like when I was holding her in my arms, I was like,
she's a cutie.
Oh my goodness. She's going to look at me as the example of the type of guys to date. Yeah. I better clean up my act. Like, she's going to look at me. And now, like, she was visiting Grandma and Grandpa yesterday. And my mom's like, hey, she just keeps calling for you. Like, that's all she said the whole time. Daddy, 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 where daddy, where daddy? And I'm like, makes you want to be better.
It does.
And I mean, so you brought up, we're going to get a little spiritual on this. Okay. I like that, is you brought up earlier your faith. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We've brought it up, and you are as well.
Yeah.
How has that, like, I know a lot of people judge the church. I just refer to the LDS faith as the church.
Well, in church policy, all they ask is that the first time you mention them, you say the whole name. Then after that, they don't care if you abbreviate it.
Well, I'm just saying for the podcast listeners.
I know, but if you just want to understand, the church doesn't care if you abbreviate it after you say it the first time.
Well, being a Mormon,
yep.
How has that affected and believing in Christ? That's what I should say better. Is
absolutely.
Believing in Christ, how has that helped you? Because so far as how has this helped you be a better dad and a better husband, I should say too. How has that affected your relationship and the way you conduct businesses? Because I believe I talked to you before that you ran your own business, right?
I've had my business, yeah.
And how has that affected your life?
Business decisions, all that.
Yeah, all of that. Like, you don't need to go into 2 hours here, but like, how has that really affected you and made you kind of change your perspective on things, even politically? Because I know having belief in God and everything affects my political decisions. Before I go and do something, I always take a look at what I believe and does that align with the big guy upstairs? Right. And if it doesn't, then it's like, okay, well then that's not okay. Yeah, I'll put aside my personal and try to go. Yeah. So how does that?
For me, my belief in Jesus Christ and how it's affected my life, I would say it started from my childhood. My mom raising me up in the church, and even though we moved around so much and have been all over, the Western United States, and And we always went to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that was what we did. I grew up and I went through Scouts, all of that, and I was just taught that was something that I did and I was supposed to do. Well, when it came time for me to serve a mission, I really didn't have like a father figure or a priesthood leader in my home to say, yeah, that's what we do, is we go serve a mission. So there was a part of me that didn't really feel a need to serve my mission. But I was in an accident when I was a kid, and my mom, she took some of the money from that accident and invested it so it would pay out when I was old enough to serve a mission, so I could pay for my mission, which was awesome. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should go from that. But it wasn't until my uncle, who was kind of my closest thing that I had as a father growing up, when I always looked up to, he came to me and he told me that I needed to go on a mission. And the way that he told it to me and the way he said that, I'm saying, okay, you know what? I'll put my papers in. And I put my papers in, and I went to the training center here in Provo, and just kind of really diving into studying the scriptures, reading them, reading the Book of Mormon, reading the Bible, reading the Doctrine and Covenants, the Pearl of Great Price, reading it all together, and then being surrounded by educators and people from the the leadership in the church, having actual apostles come and speak to you. I grew up watching them on TV. I never saw them in person, but to feel the Spirit, it was something magical. It was something special to me. But I will tell you, for me, my biggest conversion was we were practicing teaching the gospel, and for lessons you have to learn how to teach.
Where did you serve?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri?
Yeah.
Misery?
St. Louis, Missouri. 100%. I agree with that. I said that too. I got my mission call, and I'm like, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm going to get shot. I'm like, I know someone doesn't know the law changed there, because it didn't change until 1977 or 78 or something like that.
So for those who don't know, there was a law back in the day by Governor Boggs that it was okay to shoot Mormons. So that's what the joke is.
It was on the law books until the 70s, 1970s. So I'm like, I know someone's not gonna know that, right? So
I think it was in the 90s when the governor of Missouri actually
an official
formal apology of the state to the LDS Church for it.
Yeah.
But it was on your mission that you really.
It was in the training center, so we were practicing the lessons, and you role play with other missionaries, right? And I'm pretending I'm the investigator, and these two missionaries are talking to me, and they're like going, well, because we all go by Elder, rather than our first name. We give up our first name, we just go by our last name, Elder Rich, right? And they're like, Elder Rich, will you pray and ask if the Book of Mormon is true? And I'm like, yeah, I'll pray about that. And they're like, will you pray and ask if Joseph Smith is a prophet? And I said, yeah, I guess I'll do that. And I'll do that. And I was just kind of role playing, right? And then they stopped and they're like, no, Elder Rich, we want to know, will you tonight pray and ask if the Book of Mormon is true and if Joseph Smith is a prophet? Now, I had studied the Book of Mormon. I had learned about the prophet Joseph Smith and being involved in this. But then all of a sudden, for me, it was like, wow, I don't think I've actually prayed and personally asked myself to know these things. I've just kind of accepted them as this is just life.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm literally giving up 2 years in my prime, my life, to go do something that I don't know is true. I'm like, okay, well, why am I even here? Why am I even going on a mission? If I don't know this is true, why am I even doing this? What's the purpose? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Tonight, I'll do that. And so we went through the rest of the day, and in the training center, it's chaotic. I'll tell you, we get back to the dorms about 8 o'clock or something like that, and it's a frat house. I mean, you got a bunch of college-age kids, and we are doing the dumbest things, and there's these Polynesians in the hallway playing rugby, and they are full-on body slamming each other on the concrete. And I'm like, I would be dead. I would just be dead at that point. And we're just playing around, and the first thing you do when you get back to your room is white shirt, ties off, you're back, and you're relaxing and you're cool. About 9 o'clock, you sit down for your you settle down. Lights are supposed to be out, and you kneel together as a district prayer. And we knelt down as a district to pray, and all of a sudden there was a knock on the door. And I go and I open up, Elder McIntosh goes and he opens up the door, and these two missionaries that did the role play with me, still standing in their suits. And they're like, we're here to talk to Elder Rich. Is he here? And I'm like, they're like, Elder Rich. And I'm like, you guys are really carrying this role play thing up really seriously. Yeah. They're like, Elder Rich, we want to remind you tonight to be able to pray and ask God if these things are true. And I'm like, yeah, I said I was going to, but again, you guys are really carrying this a little too far. But so we said our district prayer, and then I went to my bed and I knelt down and I prayed. And I will tell you, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, I 100% know the Book of Mormon is true. I know that God is real. I know that Jesus is the Christ. And without a doubt, I know that Joseph Smith is a prophet. I don't just believe it. I wasn't just given a good feeling about it. It was one of the most spiritual experiences of my life. So I said, okay, wow. Well, that answers that. So I went on a mission. And the thing is, on my mission, the thing that I learned the most is how much God loves me and loves everybody. Like, loves you so much. So how does the message of Jesus Christ affect my life? If there are so many times in our lives that we get told of how we're supposed to feel, we watch something and we're controlled by that. And we're blinded for a second to know how much God really loves us. Mm-hmm. And the real thing that we have to remember is that we aren't meant to be here to feel angry, to feel upset about stuff. It's to feel love. It's to be connected. And in that experience, and I'll share this. I won't share everything with it, but in that experience, when I knelt on my bedside, I had this vision or image in my mind that popped up, and it was like I was in this open space, and there was this blue energy that it was a line, but it connected everything, and everyone is connected with this. It was really kind of with this blue energy connected everything and everyone. And I asked in my mind, I'm like, are we all connected? And the Spirit told me yes. And I'm like, am I connected to everything? And in an instant, I was shown a folding chair, like we've all seen at church, those white folding chairs. I was shown a specific folding chair in a cultural hall in a small chapel in Washoe Valley, that I was there when I was a kid, that I'm connected to that chair. But we're connected to everything. We're connected to each other. And our egos are what's constantly saying that we're apart, that we're different from each other. And we're always fighting that. So for me, the gospel of Jesus Christ is really bringing us all back to that oneness, that connection, and reminding us for that. So for me getting married, I chose to find me someone who loved God. My biggest important thing for me was finding someone who loved God as much as I do. Nothing else would really matter at that point. Yeah. She's smoking hot, which I'm really grateful for. But I think that's only because she loves God so much. But then having kids, having that trust that, will I be able to make enough money to support my family? I didn't grow up with a lot of money as a kid. Yeah. And so would I have enough money to be able to support my family? And taking that leap of faith of having our first child, and then having our second child, and then a third, and then a fourth. I've been fortunate enough, in order for me to be able to afford that, because the money was tight, is I wanted to be prepared. I love being prepared. I love being prepared for emergencies. So for me, it was, okay, if I want to be a father and my wife wants to have a baby, what do I do in an emergency if we can't make it to the hospital? So we went through a class on natural childbirth. And 2 weeks before the baby was due, or a week before the baby was actually due, we decided we're not doing it at the hospital. we're doing it at home.
Oh, golly. Woo!
And I delivered. Well, we went into, my wife went into labor, and the midwife, when she came over, and I moved aside so the midwife could go check on could deliver the baby. Was that 20 minutes already?
Yeah.
Holy moly!
You're good. Finish up, and then I have one question.
Okay.
Just a
Amazing
quick.
how fast time goes.
That was really fast, really fast. But yeah, it was the midwife moved away, and she put me right there to catch the baby, my first child. And you're right. When that baby came out, and I held that baby, it ignited something inside of me that I think is connected to God. I know it's connected to God. That God loves us so much that He would give us anything that we ask for in this life. I think that we suffer and we struggle in life sometimes because we don't trust God enough to provide for us the things that we need. But that time I held that baby, she didn't have to beg and ask for a home or food.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give that to her more than anything and take care of her. I think God's the same way. I think He holds us in His arms, and He wants to take care of us. And we get these experiences in life that help us to grow. Exactly what we need at that time. But He really does care for us. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing. No, like seriously, that I'm not a crier. I have a hard time feeling my emotions. We're working on it.
Oh, I can make you cry. Don't worry. I can.
Thank you. Thank you. So, in 30 words or less,
Okay.
if you had one piece of advice to give to us kids out there, what would you say to the whole world? I mean, you're on the whole World Wide Web. What would that advice be?
It would be to ask the questions you want answers to. Because the more questions that we are always asking questions about everything. Like, what was that noise that we just heard? Or what's everything. We're asking questions. And we're always going to find answers to it. Ask the questions you want answers to. That you want the answer. Not that you just want answers to, but if you ask the question, why am I so dumb? I really don't want to know that answer, but I'm going to come up with a reason, right? But ask the questions you want an answer to. Like, why am I so great? Why am I so happy? I think that's the key to life and success.
So question everything and seek out those
asking
answers?
the questions that get for the answers that you want.
I like that. That's deep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on for longer if you would like.
Hey, I'd love to be a part of this. Anything I can.
So at the end of this, thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment. I mean, if you guys got anything you would like to hear, please comment. I'm kind of in charge of the social media stuff, so you'll be talking to me personally when you guys do comment or on the Discord. If I can figure out Discord, don't make fun of me for that. Okay, you guys have a wonderful night.